Little on pole, Kane Scott alongside him, and then Troy Wheeler and Shane Gray on row 2. The start for this first race of the season will be a single file rolling start. The safety truck pulls away and we'll have 6 laps to run. So, red lights are out, green lights are go, and the trucks rip into it. A damp track. John Hepburn with me, who's been there and done it. Trucks, motorbikes, and now V8s, but boy oh boy, we've got some serious horsepower here, John.
Definitely serious horsepower. It's going to be hard going with the little bit of rain we've just had. It's real tight round levels and not a lot of traction in the wet with the new tar seal on that. It hasn't greened up yet, so it's going to be quite an interesting race.
Well, we're on board with Troy Wheeler as he looks behind, looks forward. We've got Malcolm Little, Kane Scott. Hey, speaking of Kane Scott, that truck has a little bit of history, doesn't it?
A lot of history. A lot of different people have driven that. It's a current championship winning truck as well.
Well, Calvin Bonney's been behind the wheel, so now we'll see if Kane Scott can make it sing. It's a mean green. Some say green is unlucky when it comes to racing, but we'll find out as the laps count down. Malcolm Little, nice and clean. Troy Wheeler, sideways. Shane Gray, thinking he can do a much better job. Hey, John, what about the weather conditions for these tyres? Is it going to be good or bad for them?
Bad. The trucks don't handle the best at the best of times, and when it's a little bit wet, they definitely push a lot in the front, and also as soon as you get on that throttle with that big horsepower, they go sideways as Malcolm gets very sideways coming out of the hairpin.
Well, there you go. Full example of how not to do it smoothly around Timaru. Troy thinks he's going to go nuts and go down the outside. That's not going to happen. The door was closed. Malcolm Little staying out in front. Kane Scott still quietly in second. What's the weight of these suckers?
6.5 tonne for the big trucks and 5.5 tonne for the B-grade trucks. Kane here is probably in the best advantage because he's done a lot of racing, very smooth driver, so Troy will be trying to push his way through, though. You can see that coming.
Yeah, he's pushy, isn't he? Goes around the outside. That's not the line. Tries the crossover. That's not going to happen either because Kane knows those tricks. So he does a nice little defensive block. Still legal in the rules of racing.
Definitely, and Troy will give him a bit of Morse code in a minute to let him know that he's there and he's coming through.
All right, so we're coming down past the start-finish line, and yes, it is very wet, and yes, it is very slippery. He's gone down the inside, under brakes. Kane can't do anything about it. He has to let him through, and he's still managed to keep it under control. He thinks he can drive.
Yeah, definitely. This is the best I've seen Troy Wheeler drive in all the years he's been racing this truck. He's settled down, not as angry as he used to be, and doing an absolute fantastic job in these treacherous conditions.
Well, they rebuilt the engine Friday after problems in practice, stripped it down. The boys got a bit bored. Well, what will we do this afternoon, fellas? Well, let's rip an engine out of a truck and rebuild it. It seems to be working. Okay, Ash, that's one way of doing it. A little bit of sideways action from the boys lower down in the field. Troy, cut it out.
I think it might have worked. He's just got around the outside of Malcolm there, heading into the hairpin. Malcolm tries to come back, but not enough. Troy, big time sideways on the way out of there, but he's driving fantastically.
Is that illegal smoke? Is he trying to put up a blocker here? Because the guys can't see where the track is.
Yeah, there is a rule regarding the smoke, but at this stage, he's still better than it used to be because you couldn't see a thing behind it in the old days.
Well, we're watching Malcolm Little. He's locked up the front right. He's lost it. The pressure was too much. Kane Scott has ripped down the inside. Malcolm needs to try and hold it. What are we looking? 5 over 5.5, 6 tonne here, trying to control it. He's lost how many spots now? Probably 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, definitely. That was a big lock up there from Malcolm. Just trying a little bit hard, wet conditions, and locks up that front right and spins off into the outfield. Troy there having a look in the mirrors, just as he heads on around the top of Levels Raceway there, around McKissick Curve.
Nice and easy. Kane Scott wondering how he's going to catch up to him. It's going to take a lot of work now, and if you're wondering if that's fire, no, it's not. It's just the steam from the brakes. We need to keep these big machines cool.
Yeah, there was a little bit of blue smoke there. I think it might be an oil seal or something like that leaking in the back left-hand corner of Troy's truck. It'll be, hopefully it'll last till the end of the race, eh?
Maybe a few chassis adjustments for Mr. Shane Gray as well, because he is going a little bit slip-slidey. Speaking of slip-slidey,
Terry McGee, I think it is.
Yes, nicely done. Kept it under control. Lucky there's no Armcos close to that area.
Definitely second one he's had today in the warm-up lap earlier on. He punched it into the wall as well, just trying a little bit hard in the wet conditions on cold tyres. So a bit hard day for him.
It has been a tough learning curve on Timaru. We're still on board with Troy Wheeler, who is out front leading the race. He got there after the dramas from Little in the blue and white machine, who was out in front. He locked it up going into turn 2. And from there, well, the rest of the field went past them. A few skiddies from Troy.
Definitely, he's having a lot of fun out there, and this truck's going amazingly well, considering they put 3 new pistons in it last night. Paisley's once again doing a lot of work on the injectors and the injector pump, so very good to see Troy out there taking the win in race 1.
So race 1 sees Troy Wheeler take the win from Kane Scott and Shane Gray getting 3rd, and Malcolm Little's spin costing him dearly, finished 4th.